Welcome to Rom Wills Money Matters. Pay attention to small things in your business. Pay attention to small things. Because I'm going to tell you what, if you're running a business, sometimes that little thing that you're not paying attention to could be the thing that messes you up. I'll never forget when I was working on one of my 1,000 jobs. You know what, I might do a shirt that says I've worked 1,000 jobs. Anyway, I had mentioned before I had worked for this place that sold African sculptures and everything. And I'll never forget what the owner did one day. She came in and the store was empty. It sold African sculptures and clothes and, you know, a good day, if we got 10 customers, a good day, we were doing something. Unless, something special was happening. So, but we still made money. We made some good stuff in there. Anyway, I remember she got there and she said, "Hey, Ron, come here." And we walked to the back. We went to a part of the store that a customer would never see. And she said, "You see that right there?" And it was a corner in the back room that had some dust. She said, "I can't have that." One of the things that she taught me was paying attention to even little things. Because that's one of the things I learned from her. Because if the store was empty, I was expected to do something. And I learned that from her. I'm grateful for that. If you in a business, you pay attention to every little thing. Every little thing. Like, say you have a restaurant. I'm going to tell you what. There are restaurants that get shut down for a day or get some type of trouble because they don't pay attention to how they're cleaning up. They don't pay attention to it. They might have just that one little, they'll have bugs or something in it, and that's because they're not paying attention to how they cleaning up. Or you go into maybe a clothing store or something, maybe a small clothing store, or a large clothing store, and they're not paying attention to how everything is fixed in there. Now, one of my 1,000 jobs I had was as a merchandiser for a major store. I mean, a basic job was folding stuff and making sure it looked nice. It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference. Because when I go into maybe a smaller retail store to buy something, I'm paying attention to how they have stuff. Do they have dust on something? If I see dust on something, I'm like, Or if I see clothes and they're not folded correctly, I'm like, Like if I had a clothing store selling some clothes, I would tell people, it's like, hey, when someone isn't in there, you're folding clothes. You are never standing just behind the register. You're never standing just behind the register, unless you have a bunch of people in there. Even then, you have somebody, maybe one person keeping an eye on the register and somebody else doing some other stuff, helping a customer and everything. Now I'll get into that customer satisfaction in the next episode. But you always doing stuff. You paying attention to it. Or even if you're not dealing with some stuff for like customers. Say you have a website or something like that. You got to pay attention to stuff. Like one of the things with me is, and I've gotten upset at all these videos I put out. Every once in a blue moon, the title, I have a word in the title like messed up and people bring it to my attention. I take care of it right away. You pay attention to small things, like that title thing. Now, yeah, I take care of it, but then I jump on myself because I say, I should have looked at that beforehand, because somebody else will use that as an excuse. They'll say, "Oh no, the title's words misspelled," because that's how people are. Indeed, when people come into your business, sometimes they'll look for little things. They'll look for a reason not to buy stuff from you. And that gets into some other psychological stuff that's bigger than this. I guess I had to do that on maybe my Deep Thought channel, because sometimes people, they jealous of you, so they look for a reason to break you down. And indeed, sometimes customers do that. Because I know one thing with me when I go in the stores, if a sales clerk or someone doesn't acknowledge me within a couple minutes, I'm ready to go. You pay attention to that too. Once again, that goes, I'll talk about that in the next episode. But you want to do that. Any business that you have, pay attention to every little thing, small thing. You might have a business using equipment or something. You might have a mobile detailing business. I'll just use that as an example. But then you have a little tiny crack in the water or something, just tiny. It might be just a little drip. You fix that right away because you don't know when that's going to be bad. Say you out hypothetically cleaning some car and you got the water in there. All of a sudden that crack becomes bigger. All of a sudden you lose all that water. You can't finish cleaning that car. You pay attention to every little thing. And you're going to make some mistakes. There's no shame in it. Try not to make it again. Learn from it and try not to do it again. I'll use the example. Like I said, once in a blue moon, the title of a particular video might be misspelled. Once in a blue moon. I've had it happens maybe once every 6 months or something. I was like, oh, no, I can't have that happening. I replace it. Then I actually go through the video itself, make sure the title is good in the video itself. But I'm always looking. I'm always paying attention. There have been times I've had on a shirt. And maybe a button might be missing. I'd be like, ah. There have been times actually when I've noticed some little something here or there, and I've actually recorded a video again. You want to do all of that. It makes a big difference. Indeed, some people, I had somebody point out on one of my videos about noticing a cut. Oh yeah, I do be cutting. If I have too much space or if I cough or something, I don't see it. I'm paying attention to that because say I cough and don't play it off. Somebody will have an issue with that. See, you want to pay attention to every little thing, a small thing. That's how you make it. That's how you do stuff. One thing I notice about successful businesses, they are looking at that. Looking at that African business I told you about, selling African stuff. One of the things, if anybody who watches my Deep Thought channel see I'm wearing an African tunic. That's where I got it from originally. Because I was wearing, we had this African store. I would come there wearing like a shirt like this. And the owner was like, no. No, you need to get some stuff. That's a small thing though. No matter what it is. I remember when I was working at the department store and we would have outside vendors coming in. They would always be wearing the clothing of whatever clothes they were working on. Like we had polo and stuff. The young lady who came in, she would be hooked up in polo. You think about little stuff like that. Pay attention to those small things. Because they can become a problem later on. They can hurt you later on. You have a restaurant, that needs to be spotless. I actually knew someone who had a restaurant and a guy cited her who worked for the health department. He was on some, I'll just say he was probably on some petty stuff. She probably rejected him. She was attractive. She probably rejected him or something. But you still have to pay attention to it. You just never know. All right? So anyway, that's all I have for today. Y'all know the deal. Let's go make that money.